They so good in this hole. Everybody in here been hollering all kind of shit. I don't know what the they got going on at Ruth Chris, but they is acting real ratchet in this mother.
I spent $350 to find out it's Ruth Chris Fine Dining. Cause y'all said it was Applebee's. I ain't wanna do too much with my attire cause I know how y'all like to tussle about that. But we visited the one in Northbrook.
Now to an exclusive story you may have seen on firstcoastnews.com. Weeks of planning into a nice night out ruined as some African American patrons say that they were put into a colored section at Ruth Chris's Steakhouse in downtown Jacksonville. So this is video shot by Eric R.B. Oliver, appearing to show mostly black patrons inside of a banquet hall room at the DoubleTree Hotel. Patrons we've spoken to say when they called to make the reservations, an employee told them that they would be in a private dining room. After the family spoke up about previous experiences they had had there, they were seated in the restaurant's dining room. Now, as they were leaving, they went back to the private dining area to see that banquet hall, that it was full of more black patrons. And they add that a majority of the customers in the dining room were white.
Dining room. I'm sorry, guys, but this Ruth Chris location is getting really, really creative. Um, anyways, we got to talk about Ruth Chris here because they adopted a new dress code policy, and it's all in response to a viral TikTok video that happened about a month ago. So this black TikToker on Valentine's Day took his girlfriend to Ruth Chris, and he pretty much had black fatigue.
I don't know what it is with us, and I hope you understand what I mean when I say us. I don't know what it is with us. Like, we feel like we have to bring this like street energy everywhere we go. Like, why am I sitting down with my wife at Ruth Chris, cutting into this nice ribeye, and I see dudes walking by with their pants sagging, with their jeans sagging, with these bubble coats with their hoods on? Like, yo, we gotta stop. Like, we gotta stop. And I know, listen, some of y'all are gonna be like, oh, you was just thanking God for this, now you judging. Listen, I'm not judging. I'm not judging them, and I'm not trying to be cynical. But we have to, like, yo, we gotta understand, like, yo, there's a time and place for every. First of all, like, we have to understand that how the world reads us is a reality. Like, yo, the way you present yourself is how the world reads you. We already are fighting an uphill battle at times, and I understand there's a lot of systematic things, but like, why are you, like, we got to do better. Like, at Ruth Chris, this is supposed to be an establishment that, you know what kind of establishment you go. See, that's the thing. Like, you know you're not going to no Applebee's. You know you're not going to Chili's. You know you're not going to Texas Roadhouse. You know you're not going to, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing against those places. I'll eat at all those places. I'm not too bougie for none of them places. But, like, you know you're not going there. Why are you bringing this, like, energy? Why are you bringing this, like, attire that, come on, jeans sagging? You can't, you eating at Ruth Chris, you can go buy a belt. I hate that for us. I hate that we do that. Like, us men, we got to do better as men. Like, go get yourself a pair of slacks. Go get yourself, you know what I'm saying, a belt. Go get yourself, you know what I'm saying, a nice collar shirt, a sweater, a coat, something, a blazers. Like, come on.
Okay, so that was a viral video from a month ago, and Ruth Chris responded by adopting a new dress code, which makes complete sense because, they're considered, I guess, a fine dining establishment. Some people might not consider them that, but it's what, $50 steaks? Probably a class above Outback Steakhouse. But that said, when you adopt these types of policies, dress codes, you're going to attract a certain type of, customer. You don't want people coming in with baseball hats, pants sagging to their knees, just acting really ratchet and ghetto. So I think it's a really smart move by them. Anyways, I'm going to read you the article here from the New York Post. So it reads, think twice before topping off your outfit with a baseball cap at the steakhouse. The corporate owner behind the famed Ruth Chris Steakhouse is cracking down on diners as part of their strict dress code that bans hats at the table and requires diners to show up in proper attire. Parent company Darden Restaurants, which operates 162 restaurants across the globe, warned its guests that the vibe is strictly business casual. So, yeah, that makes total business sense because you don't want to attract a certain type of clientele, especially when you're charging steaks for $50 or more. And I'm pretty sure this black TikToker faced a ton of backlash from his own community because they hate it when one of their own calls out their community. I'm pretty sure they called him a Uncle Tom, a coon, or a sellout. And I just find the black community just completely opposite of like East Asian communities because like Korea or Japan. Because if like a Korean were to do something embarrassing or made, let's say a Korean went to Europe and, while he was there, he did something really bad that became a national news, that person would be ostracized by the country of Korea because you it's like you made us all look bad as a country or as a community. And I just find it like the complete opposite of like what, black Americans are like.
You have Ruth Chris now saying, hey, we don't want to do this, but you guys are forcing our hand. We're going to have to enforce a dress code policy because how you guys are coming in here with your pants sagging, looking sloppy, all of these things we just cannot allow. So then you sit back and you wonder why other races will say, we have black fatigue. Guess what? I'm black and I have black fatigue. I am tired of the wrong type of people in our community, because let me preface this is not all black people. This is not. You have people over here making life miserable for other fellow Americans because you have no manners, you have no standards, you have no morals.
Y'all remember that dude that took his wife out to Ruth's Chris for Valentine's Day or something like that? And he was complaining that he saw people in there like sagging their pants and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, that was me. So it turns out, not only did Ruth's Chris see that video, they liked that video. Not only did they like that video, they just came out with a statement saying they're about to reinforce a dress code policy in their restaurants. All right, so this article is from the New York Post. It was just published yesterday, the 13th. Today's the 14th, all right? Title is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse Owners Crack Down on Diners Dress Code. And y'all can read the rest of the article. Y'all can look it up. But basically, they cracking down on a whole lot of stuff. Hey, shout out to Ruth's Chris. This cool. This is cool. Now, maybe this is a coincidence. Maybe they never saw my videos. Maybe this was already coming down the pipeline. But I come on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't no coincidence. It's not no coincidence.
Okay, so honestly, I actually think this sends a pretty good message that corporations, businesses are actually listening to the people. And, for the people in the black community actually calling out their own community, I think it really sends a strong message because we know that if people outside of the black community call out this behavior, uh, it pretty much falls on deaf ears. So, and I know like right now, a lot of the people who do call out their own community get called an Uncle Tom or a coon. But I think as more and more people call out their own community, that's when you're actually going to start seeing some changes very gradually.